The Dallas Stars fall in OT to the St. Louis Blues by a final score of 4-3. And once again, we get a bit of everything in this contest. Let's break it all down next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to a post-game edition of Locked On Stars, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer, 105 Through the Fan, play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. And thank you, as always, to you everydayers out there for making us your first listen. The Stars fall in OT tonight. Colton Parayko gets the game winner for St. Louis, says the Blues earned the extra point, and it left a sour taste in your mouth, as the Stars played a very good third period. They forced it to overtime, but once again, just come up short, and now there's a three-way tie for first place in the Central Division. A very good win for Winnipeg here tonight. They take down Colorado, which causes this three-way tie, so it's anybody's division right now, and a very, very intriguing night here for Dallas. A great start. They put in the first two, and they're all over the Blues. They have a chance to go up three, right away, as Dellandrea put in the second. They challenge for goaltender interference. That was not the case, so they go on a power play. Special teams just fell short today. The Stars' power play could not get in and set up. Their injuries were so bad. They were just putting themselves in really tough situations, running themselves out of real estate, and could not connect two passes together in the attacking zone. So the power play was really disappointing. They go 0 for 3. St. Louis definitely won the special teams battle. They get a power play goal from Brendan Saad to start their scoring on the night, but Stars PK, of course, surrenders one, 0 for 3 on the power play, which certainly did not help their cause. If they were able to pot one, maybe the game's over early, but still very frustrating. You blow another multi-goal lead, and I understand you get that lead early, but they just have such a tough time shutting teams down lately, and the Blues had so many grade A chances. Wedgewood was really good, and he had to make a couple of superb stops. It was really easy for St. Louis to get through neutral ice. Stars had so many turnovers at the Blues blue line in the game, which just fueled the transition game for St. Louis, and they can get going in a hurry. Kyrou had a big night. Funky for him, being booed last time, and of course a very emotional night for him. And then I think he's in the good graces again. A big 3-point night for Kyrou, and he gets an assist on the goal in OT. And another OT period where they just kind of stand around. That happens so much, where they allow one guy to just kind of waft through and get a chance on their netminder, and then nobody stops on the puck. A couple of flybys across the crease, and then Wedgewood's down, and Parayko has a yawning 4x6. He said thank you, and he ends the contest. At the end of the day, it's still an earned point, which is good, but man, they were just really having a tough time just locking it down, especially in that second period. The Blues were coming heavy, and they were coming fast, and we're noticing a trend now. The Stars have a tough time bucking up to physicality. That's kind of a recipe for success against the Stars this season, is teams that are very, very physical. They get in on the forecheck. They're just hammering the Stars defense, creating turnovers, and they can't handle it. And they don't really want to play that game either. I know many of you have mentioned, and I've read comments about Stars just don't have the physicality. And look, I'm there with you. They just don't have the ability to stand up to it. And teams that are heavy and want to throw their weight around, the Stars have had issues dealing with it. And of course, we already know the issues with the defense being very leaky and all that stuff, but they got to do a better job of, just kind of joining the fight, so to speak, because in the second period, they just made it so easy. The Blues were all over them at 5-on-5, 62% in the Corsi 4 percentage. I mean, they just maintained possession for the majority of it. Wedgewood makes 30 saves. He was busy and had to make some really, really good saves. But some positives in the game. Dellandrea, I thought, played really good. Of course, he picks up a goal, which was huge for him. That fourth line was very steady and consistent for the Stars, which was huge. And we have to touch on the line changes galore in the third period. Pete DeBoer's just like, hey, we're going to play everybody with somebody, and you're all going to get a chance. The combinations ended up being Ben Johnston, Pavelski, Robertson, Duchesne, Dadanov, and then you had Marchment, Henson, Sagan. Fourth line stayed intact, I should say, but it injected some life into the club. I mean, the third period was great. I mean, a ton of scoring chances, and they were all over St. Louis. And part of it, too, was the Blues were just feeding the puck to the Stars. I mean, just giving it away, begging them to score. And eventually they did. A beautiful tip by Dadanov. Harley and Heiskanen continue to play together. Oh, my God. I know it's tough for DeBoer to put those two together constantly because you're going to leave some vulnerable pairs together, but there needs to be some serious conversation about having those two play together the entire night. It adds so much to the back end. They can shut teams down defensively, and more importantly, man, they can create. And they did on that goal. Beautiful job by Harley to buy himself some time, and he fed it across to Heiskanen, who had a really good night again. He picks up an assist, Harley with one, but scoring chances in that third period, the Stars ended up with 11 to 4 against St. Louis. It was a great period, but sometimes it's like you would love them to have a bit more of that, consistently throughout a game instead of just for, 15 minutes in a period. And maybe you never would have been in this situation. I want to touch on that a bit more, these new lines, and maybe if this has some staying power moving forward in just a moment. But first, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Sleeper, and you can play daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. You've heard me touch on it so many times before, how great they are, because you can win 100 times your cash playing daily fantasy hockey contest, and you can just pick studs like your Ovechkins, your Crosbys, your McDavids of the world, and just pick more or less on Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, plus minus, and you can win 100 times your bet on Sleeper. All you got to do, correctly predict the outcome of 8-player stats. And of course, you don't have to just play daily fantasy hockey. You got the NFL in full swing. You got bowl season now working around. NBA's just at the infancy of their season. So do it all, but play some daily fantasy hockey. Win 100 times your bet, Stars fans, and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and with location availability. So the new line combinations were very intriguing. Robertson with Dadanov and Duchesne was one that really piqued my interest. That's not one on paper I would think would, have some good looks, but they were phenomenal in that third period. I liked Ben and Pavelski. I think part of it too is they just woke up. The new lines, I think, kind of sent a message like, hey, you guys need to start creating. Otherwise, we're going to have issues tonight and not even earn a point. But Jason Robertson, Duchesne, and Dadanov ended up with the equalizer. They had some good moments. Sagan, I thought, played a heck of a game. Sagan was just, making plays left and right. I mean, they combined on that first goal was so pretty. The little backwards pass from Sagan and Marchment just had the slam dunk. That trio continues to be really dominant for the Stars at times. Hence and Robo just seem to have some trouble getting things going for themselves. And it's so concerning because we're waiting for it to happen. It just is not happening. And yeah, they've had some looks, and the Stars get zone time. That hasn't been an issue as of late. Like, they can get in and work the puck around, but they can't get interior at all. And besides in the third period, they started to putting rubber on net. But other than that, it's like, it's a lot of zone time, but what is it equaling? it's not equaling a ton of shots or really high danger chances. And teams too, I think, are just starting to defend the Stars like, hey, have the perimeter. Like, we're going to lock it down. We're going to put bodies in front. You're not going to be able to get shots through from the point, and you're really going to have to earn your goals. And the Stars certainly did. But it took them, till the third period to have some grit and hungriness in it. And man, they went on the forecheck, and St. Louis couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it until the Stars tied the game. And then next thing you know, the other way, Buchnevich hits the pipe and almost ended it in regulation. Fortunately for the Stars, it ends up going past 60 minutes, and they at least get a point out of it. Still positive. They take 3 points out of the weekend. Look, a back-to-back's really hard too. That's a hard thing to do, and I'll give him props for not just giving up, so to speak, because they could have lied down and got rolled over in the final 20 and, not get anything for your efforts. But they did enough at least to take a few points, man. Wedgewood was great. Look, I think the Stars are going to be fine. And maybe this is a tad, too breezy to say, but I think this is a great thing for the Stars that maybe Otter's out. They're forcing to rest him now. He has to rest, obviously. We're going to find out what the Dallas Stars are made of here in the next 15, 20 games. I don't know how long Otter's going to be out. Looks like 3-4 weeks maybe, and this is complete speculation, of course. We don't know. They're doing more tests, and we'll find out. But look, we're going to find out what this club's made of. And it was a good game. I didn't like the absence of the second period, but the offense hasn't been the issue, and we know that. That's nothing new. They've fallen back to the middle of the pack in terms of goals against. And look, it's a tough way to do your living, especially when you're playing from behind, and they got out to an early lead. They can't hold leads. They can't. Multiple occasions, it's been that way this season. Or they're playing from behind and they're playing catch up, which is a hard way to live. But you pick up a point at least, and now you have a few games at home here as Christmas approaches, and again, a few winnable games. You do have Seattle, Nashville coming up. Vancouver's going to be a great test and a measuring stick, and we'll see how that fares. And I want to touch on the near future as well in just a moment. Today's episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. Stars fan, that is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle, level it up to peak performance, some superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. So Joe O'Brien ends up earning an amateur tryout, so to speak, for the Stars. So he was fully dressed tonight as the backup. So the Stars have their backup for now, and they have to get some cap situation worked out and maneuvering in order to bring somebody up from the AHL. It looks like Remy Poirier is due to at least come up and probably be with the Stars during the homestand. But first game without Otter, and Wedgewood was essentially playing a back-to-back himself because he had to get put into the game 10 minutes into the game against Ottawa. And man, he just keeps the Stars in it, and that's all you can ask for someone like Wedgewood. He makes the difficult saves more often than not, you could say, probably more than Otter has throughout the season. And he keeps the Stars in it. They really hung around tonight. And I can spread my praise for that to some degree. They were able to at least put it to OT. Lundqvist got back in after a few healthy scratches again. And Dellandrea did too. Dellandrea had a big night, probably played himself into a lineup a few more times. Lundqvist didn't have a great night. Didn't notice him a ton. But wasn't ugly by any means. He again did not play the last like 5 minutes of the game. That's just not going to happen. But look, Miro and Harley were going to play a ton, and they basically did. I wonder what the time on ice is. It's great to see Harley just playing a ton. Man, they've needed that, and he's easily been the second best defenseman. Miro played 25 minutes again. He's now played almost 50 minutes of hockey the last 2 nights. And then Harley ended up with just under 20. Man, he should have played more. But they both had a good nights. Some stars that graded out okay. Fox's, Steele, and Dellandrea. That fourth line was really good. One of their best games of the season. I thought Dadanov was good. And he was really good when the line changes, got mixed up, and they started to find some life in that third period. And that's the positive thing too, is that third period is like, where is this team? Where have they been for the first 40 minutes, so to speak? They have to be able to do that a bit more. But we haven't seen it enough. We have not seen it enough so far. And it's almost 30 games into this thing. And you would like to see that a bit more. Look, they're still trying to figure themselves out. But physicality is something that's starting to stick out, man. They've struggled to deal with that. And we'll see how it moves forward. You got Seattle, who's really fighting for their season right now to try to get in the conversation. They've had a bit of a down year. That's a heavy team, strong back end too. And then Vancouver, of course, who's just lighting everybody on fire. That's a great test. And I think we're going to find out what the Stars are made of here in this next week as Christmas approaches. So I want to thank everybody for joining me on a little post-game podcast review from a new location back home as I flew home. So a little bit different of a setup, but I'll be ready to fire away some episodes throughout the week, and we'll have some fun here. And of course, always appreciate the feedback and the love. Please continue to do that. Love reading your comments, and we're on this roller coaster right now. But all things considered, 3 out of 4 points on the weekend. Not going to be too upset about it. Plus, you got a hungry St. Louis Blues team that just had a really fan favorite head coach fired. Sometimes that gives a spark, and St. Louis ends up getting the job done in overtime. Alrighty, we'll see you on Monday, and we'll have another great week. Always appreciate it. So long, Stars fans. Oh.